So, welcome back guys, or welcome if you are new. In my last video I mentioned that I was going to do my next video on postpartum care, but I've realised that I haven't even mentioned my birth story. So in this video I just want to keep it quite sweet and short, and I'm going to just go over my birth story really quick basically. Started on the 2nd of March 2023. At the time it was a month before my birthday, so I was 22. And I'm in the UK, so you can probably already tell by my accent. So this is obviously for the UK girls. Basically everything kind of started happening at 2 AM on the 2nd of March. So the day before the first, I didn't really feel anything. Like, I've had Braxton kicks probably the entire month even before. So like, to me, nothing really felt different. I was just basically ready, you know, to have the baby out. At this point I was just massively, heavily pregnant, really tired, and you know, like at the stage where I'm just ready now to give birth. I've had everything ready for ages, so I was literally just waiting for it to happen. Anyway, so I go to bed, think nothing of it. Like I said, like I didn't have a clue like it would happen. I guess nobody does, but it's not like I had any instincts or like any hints, or you know, like I didn't have any feeling that it would happen. So I went to bed and then I wake up at 2 AM to a feeling of basically peeing myself. And at first, actually, let me just quickly say, disclaimer, if there's anybody from my family or anybody who's male, click off the video now. You don't want to hear this, okay? So this is for my ladies. I woke up to the feeling of, I weed the bed. It was just really warm, and I thought, oh my god, I just weed the bed. And my first thought was that how am I going to cover up the fact that I've just had a massive wee in our bed with obviously my other half sleeping next to me? How was I going to cover it up? That's what I was thinking in my mind. I was thinking, how am I going to get away with this without him knowing? And I was thinking, am I just going to get a towel and put it on top and go back to sleep, and then hopefully it'll just dry? Honestly, all of the things were going through my head. Like, I didn't think, obviously, that it's my waters breaking, but that's obviously what it was. My waters broke. But yeah, so obviously that happened, and it was just obviously a lot of waters, I guess. In my bed, it wasn't like a gush, but it was like just like a long wee, basically. That's what it felt like. So I took myself off to the toilet, and I'm realizing it's still going on, like it's not stopping. And this is where I obviously figured out that it's my waters, and I was like, I just started to panic in my mind. I was thinking, oh my god, it's actually happening today. Like, obviously I knew that if your waters break, then you have to give birth within 24 hours. So I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have like my son here within 24 hours. And I was just starting to feel all emotional, and you know, as you could imagine, like how you would feel, that's how I felt. And yeah, so I was sat on the toilet basically for a really long time, and this was at the time when we was living at my mum's, so my mum and my sister was with me in the toilet. We was just sat there, we was just like talking, and I rang at the midwife centre and basically told them what happened, and they said that they would basically just need to, well, they asked me if I had any contractions, which I didn't have any yet then, and they said that basically what they would do is just check if it was my waters that have broken, and they would probably send me home until something was happening. So I thought to myself, I'm just going to stay home until things obviously start happening. So I go into the room and I tell my other half, I'm like, obviously wake him up, and I'm like, my waters have broken. And he goes, do you know what he goes? He goes, don't be silly. He goes, don't be silly, and he went back to sleep. Like, literally, like, he didn't like believe me, I guess, or maybe he was just half asleep and didn't realise what was actually going on. Basically for about like an hour nothing was happening. I was just literally pacing from room to bathroom. I was just like kind of all confused, and yeah, like, you know, like I was just a bit like all over the place. Nothing was happening, so I'm thinking, is this happening? Hospital bag ready, and obviously I had the baby's hospital bag ready, but you know, like you'll ask us like chargers and like another set of clothes. I got changed into what I wanted to wear while I was giving birth, and yeah, I was just basically waiting for contractions to start. Say 4 o'clock I started to feel pain, so I just sat on my birthing ball. Is that what it's called? You know, just like the big gym ball thing. Yeah, so I was just sat on that, and that helps. That really helped me. And for me, where the pain was, it wasn't like in my stomach, it was in my back. And when I say the pain in my back was unbearable, oh, I can't even explain. And this was nothing. This was nothing until I actually got to hospital and I was having like proper contractions and my back was killing me, but you wait to that bit. Got like contractions starting, I timed them and I used this app. I can't remember what that was, but I'll put it on screen. And basically every time you get one, you time it, and when it stops, you obviously press it again, and it would time, like it would basically log your contractions, and then when they would be regular enough, it would tell you, right, you need to go to hospital now. So I was doing that for maybe since like 4 till about 5, and that's when they started to become really regular, and I was in a lot of pain, and it was painful. Like I couldn't really stand up much. I was either sat on my ball or leant over it, or leant over the bed. And then it got to the point where it said like, you know, go to hospital. And I waited like another half hour just to, you know, just so I wouldn't be like in hospital for a long time. And then I woke him up and I said, look, we need to go to hospital now. So this was around 5:30, I believe. Yeah, so I got our stuff ready, left, nipped to McDonald's on the way there and got some breakfast. Well, I didn't, I wasn't hungry. I just got a drink just so I was like sipping on something because I felt really sicky, and yeah, I just felt really sick basically, so like that drink was really helping. Once we got to like the car park of the hospital then and got out, I was literally sick in the corner because I was just so sick and I couldn't hold it anymore, and I just couldn't hold it in anymore. And bless him, Lee was just stood there literally like looking over at me being sick. He had no idea what to do, no idea what to say. I was just glad obviously he was there. I was just literally just like in my dressing gown with my button-up 90 on, which I highly recommend. If you're going to give birth, wear like a button-up 90, just a long button-up 90. That's it, with your dressing gown, obviously, if you're going out in the cold, because it was March time, it was a bit cold. To hospital, I was in this beautiful room. I think I might have some footage of that. I might have took something, I'm not sure, but if I have, it'll be on now. This really cute room, which was nice and dim. Obviously with a little bed and a little cot, little next to me cot thing, basket thing for the baby, and it had like a little changing table there. I had a fan there. It was just like really cozy, and like it felt really relaxing in there. Obviously checked if it was my waters, which they said it was, which I already knew really. And they checked me for dilation and I was already at 2 to 3 centimeters. I had the most amazing 2 midwives with me, and when I say they were so nice and they really took care of me, honestly I can't praise them enough. They were just like, they were so nice. Like an older lady and then like a student midwife, and they were just so nice and they like took care of me and they did like little things for me that I'll never forget. I watched obviously like some birth videos before, and like a lot of people like were saying that their midwives weren't very nice, or some people were nervous about not getting on with their midwives, so I was really kind of worried about that. But honestly, mine were just so nice. I was obviously in so much pain by this point, so I asked for pain relief. In my birthing plan, I didn't obviously really have a plan because I knew that obviously things are just going to be too spontaneous for me to like plan anything, but like I just had like a rough idea. Obviously like I was very open to pain relief and things like that, so I asked for pain relief and they gave me, I believe it's diamorphine, and they gave me an anti-sickness injection because I was sick like a lot. I couldn't hold anything down, but as soon as I had that, then that made me feel better. And as soon as I had the diamorphine, which it took a little bit of the edge of the pain off, just enough for me to like go to sleep, because I was extremely tired by this point. I had obviously no sleep, which it just kind of helped me go to sleep, I guess, but I could still feel the pain, so basically it just made me sleepy. So I was glad that I at least got some kind of rest, because I knew that I was obviously in for a night. So I was able to sleep for a few hours, and I think it all kind of started around, I'd say 11 o'clock, like 11 in the morning. Started to just get like really regular contractions. I was really badly hurting, and like I said, like it wasn't for me, like it wasn't like in my stomach area, it was in my back, and I couldn't lie down. So like on my back I had to be on my side, and even on my side I was extremely uncomfortable, so I had to just kind of like really like weirdly lie on my side, which I wasn't really led down. I was kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but I wasn't comfy in the slightest, and my back was absolutely killing me. And obviously they keep coming in just to check on you, And basically just those kind of hours were just a big blur to me. Like, I was in and out of sleep and pain, midwives were coming in, checking on me, I don't really have a clue what was going on, to be fair. And then when it kind of got to the point where my contractions were coming like every 2 minutes, and they checked me and they said that I was 7 to 8 centimeters by now, and things were obviously moving quite quickly. I said if I could have epidural, and basically the midwife advised me, saying that with obviously how quickly things were going, she said that I was doing so well, and not bother really, because it would take a lot of time to obviously like get me sent down to have it done. And also she said because of how much of your back is hurting, and obviously how much you're not even able to like sit still really, to have the epidural you have to basically be really still for them to put it in your back. And as soon as she said that, I was like, no thank you, like I'm not going to manage to do that. And it takes about an hour like to do all of that procedure, which I actually didn't know. Nobody mentioned that on their birth stories, if they had epidural. Like, it literally takes about an hour for all of that process. So basically, like, I was like, right, I'm not doing that. So I had gas and air, which it was great for maybe 5 minutes, and then that started to make me feel sick. So basically I given birth with no pain relief. Like, I had obviously that diamorphine like when I came in, which didn't really help at all. Like I said, it just took the edge off and I went to sleep. Had gas and air for maybe 5 minutes, which I hated because it made me feel really sick, and I didn't have the epidural. So yeah, my back pain was horrendous. I felt like my back was breaking in half and somebody was like stomping on it. That's how it was. Horrific, honestly. That's the only thing that I probably wouldn't be able to do again, is feeling that back pain. I was 7 to 8 centimeters dilated, and then it wasn't too long until I was fully dilated and I was ready to push. And this was something really strange, because I was obviously led there screaming in a lot of pain, as you could imagine, and I was kind of like on my forward, like on the bed. I was forwards on that bed, and I was in so much pain, and like I could feel my body was starting to push on its own, and that was such a strange feeling. Like, you could literally, like, you feel everything. Like, you can feel how your body is trying to basically push. And I was literally like telling Lee, I was like, I need to push now, go and tell them, because they wasn't obviously in the room at this point. So they came in and they obviously made sure that everything was right, and yeah, I was fully dilated, and they said, yeah, you're ready to push. So like I said, I wasn't able to lie on my back, which was really sad, because I really wanted that, like, you know, experience of being led down kind of thing. But basically she brought me in like this kind of seat kind of looking thing, and I've never seen it before, and I've never heard anybody speak about this before. If I can get a picture up, then I will, but I'm not sure what it's called. But it's basically, it kind of looks like a toilet kind of looking thing with just nothing there. It's just basically like a seat. But yeah, that's basically what I gave birth on. So I was sat down, and there's like candles so you can hold on, which was really nice. And yeah, I was there and I was basically pushing, and within 20 minutes my son was born. So, and my labor was it was just under 4 hours, which after I read all of the notes I was really surprised by, like, how everything went really quick. So it was under 4 hours, and I pushed him out within 20 minutes, and it was all in 1 or 2 contractions. I can't remember specifically right now. But it just went really quick. I was thinking that I was going to be pushing for a long time. I was like, no, I'm not ready for this. It's going to hurt for ages. And I was like, how long is it going to be? And obviously they don't know, so they couldn't tell me. But yeah, I was really quick. I was like, within 20 minutes he was here. So like I said, it was unmedicated. So I literally felt every single thing. As you could imagine, the crowning was the worst. But then, like, after that, I think the really important thing was for me, like, when I watched a lot of videos, people say that you have to take your time while you're pushing. So I really tried to, like, regulate my breathing and really try to not rush it. I was just really listening to what the midwives were saying to me, and I knew that obviously rushing, like, is not good. So I just basically tried to take my time. I think it was 2 contractions. And then crowning, and my second contraction came in, I pushed, and then basically he just came flying out. All of my, like, other waters came out, covered all of the midwife, and yeah, he was here. And I obviously remember like they put him straight on my chest, and that is just like a moment like you'll never forget. Like if you're pregnant right now and you're like wondering how that feels, and you've probably listened to a lot of birth stories right now, maybe you're worried about how you're going to feel, which I was. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like there was times when I thought to myself, what if I'm not going to feel like this amazing feeling everybody's talking about? But you do feel that, and it's much more than what people say. It's just like this, I don't know how to explain it. Just you wait and see. Like once like you have your baby on your chest, it's just, it's an unexplainable like kind of love. It's just, and it's completely unexplainable. And obviously you've just gone through all of that pain, all of those emotions, you're absolutely exhausted, you're running on adrenaline. I remember looking at him and he had all like really dark hair, bless him, he had loads of hair. That's what the midwife said to me. She goes, loads of hair. And that was really cute. I couldn't wait to see his little face. And then I obviously looked at my partner and he was really emotional, and it was just an emotional moment, as you can imagine. It was really nice. But yeah, so once I gave birth, they put me down, and miraculously my backache was gone. They gave me the injection to speed up the placenta delivery or whatever, and then that just happened really quickly. I didn't even get to see what it looked like. I don't think I would have wanted to anyway. Yeah, he was born exactly at 3 p.m. It's kind of a little bit of a blur for me, like I'm not really sure what happened exactly, like at which points, but I know then they took Tommy, which is the name of my son, they took Tommy and they was obviously doing like all the checks, and I was led down and it was all happening kind of behind me, so like I couldn't really see what was going on, and I didn't really like that, to be fair. Like I felt like he was out of my sight, even though like my partner was there, like he was stood there literally like with him. So like I felt obviously glad that he was there so I could kind of relax, but it was still at the back of my mind, if that makes sense. So maybe if you can, ask them if they can do it like in front of you rather than behind you. But obviously with everything what was going on with the birthing seat was there, there was kind of a lot of things there, so like I understand why it was there like behind me, because there was more space there. What I wanted to say, while I was in labour, my really nice midwife was like on this galaxy star thing on for me in the room. Nice thought, because that really like made me feel really calm. Like it was just like a starry night with like galaxies and stuff. And like not long ago I bought one, well I say not long ago, I bought it like last year now, but I bought one for myself to have at home, and it just brings me like all those nice memories. And it was just really lovely of her, like just to think of something like that for me. And then I remember she gave a lot of like massage oils, and that like meant to help you and calm you down. The other half was massaging my back, which bless him, like he was so supportive. Like he was there for me every step of the way. He didn't leave not once. Like he was literally there for me the entire time, which obviously he should be. Like he's my other half, and obviously his son's dad. And yeah, he was massaging my back. And what else was happening? It's just like I said, it's a bit of a blur, so like sorry if I don't make sense, if I'm not very like concise, but I just wanted to mention that because I didn't want to not mention it. Yeah, this was while I was in labour. So going back to obviously the point where they were checking him, and they checked if I had any tears, and I didn't, which I was really surprised about. He weighed 6'7", so I didn't have a tear down there, but I had like a tear like on my labia part. So, well, I say a tear, it was like a bit, I don't know what they said, to be honest, but I had like a little bit of a tear there, so I had a few stitches there, gas and air, and I was puffing on that gas and air. And even with all of that like feeling of the gas and air, I wasn't in any pain, but I could like feel the I could feel like the thread going through. Oh, and that was horrible. That was really horrible, but it was still, it didn't touch the pain of like the back pain I had, so I was just glad I wasn't in pain, to be fair. And after that, I was pretty much like able to just relax, really. So, oh my goodness gracious. So I was starving hungry, as you can imagine. Go and get me some mac and cheese and a Bakewell tart. So I had that, and I had an oat caramel latte, which was like the best coffee in the world. Having caffeine after was like, literally I needed it. Like it was like the best cup of coffee I've ever had. And the mac and cheese was so good as well. And then later on I had like the infamous tea and toast, which was really nice. but I couldn't really eat much after that. Like I was really hungry, but I still couldn't really eat, if that makes sense. I guess because I was just like so in like a strange feeling, like, you know, like all of the adrenaline kind of kicked in, but it was kind of leaving. So I was just like in this really weird exhausted state. Like I was pale, honestly. I can kind of remember. And I thought to myself, I just can't wait to get in the bath. And whether the room I had like a really, really big, deep bath, which I'm not sure if it's just like a usual thing in like a birthing suite. I guess it is if you wanted to get in. Like my recording stopped then, so I'm not sure what was the last bit, but I was talking about the baths. They're really deep. So I went in to have a bath straight after I had my food. Well, not straight after, you know, like a bit after. Yeah, so I had a bath, which was really nice, and just relaxed for a bit. And it was really weird, like I was just able to get up. I was like just up and ready, like I was like pretty much up and ready to leave the hospital. And like I didn't really feel much pain. And like I said, I was probably just running on adrenaline, but I was just like up and walking around like nothing's just happened, like I didn't just give birth, which was a bit weird. But I had a bath, I got dressed, and we dressed Tommy together, and we put him in his little outfit, and we like took obviously loads of pictures and stuff, and it was just really nice. Like we just had like, you know, like some little family time. And then the midwife came in, and she was basically like showing me like how to burp him and like how to feed him and things like that. And I was just having like a nice little chat with her. And then I just had some one-on-one time with Tommy, which was really, really nice. And I was just like in peace and quiet, and yeah, it was just really nice. I really enjoyed that time when it was just me and him. Some family members came, and yeah, and basically I was told that I just need to basically weigh 200 mils. I have 2 wees of 200 mils each to then be able to just go home. So basically I was just waiting on that, just to have a wee, so they could obviously see I could have a wee and then go home. They then also check your pad just to see what your bleeding's like, and everything was fine. And then after I had my second wee, was able to go home, which was probably around 8 o'clock, I think it was. And yeah, I got all of my stuff ready, got little man ready, and we left. And I literally gave birth at 3 and went home at 8, which was really weird. We have a dog, Loki, which you probably already know if you watched my videos before, but I was really nervous about him, obviously around the baby, what he'd be like. But we came home and he basically just like gave him a good old sniff, and it's like it's like nothing even happened. Like it's like he was always with us. Like he just knew that he's a baby. He was really careful around him. When he would cry, he would always go and check if he's okay. And obviously like you have to be really careful, and no matter what, like you never leave obviously your dog with your baby ever alone, which obviously goes without saying. Which I obviously that never happened. I wouldn't ever obviously have that kind of, I wouldn't ever let that happen, as I'm sure like anybody wouldn't ever let that happen. But yeah, he was really good with him, and until this day, like he's like, they're like best friends. Like Tommy absolutely loves Loki. We went home, and on the way home we got Chinese and we ate. By the time all of that happened, it was late, so we went to bed. And the first night was fine. Like he just slept all the way through, really. Like I think he woke up once maybe at 5 AM like for a feed, and then he just slept again, which was the only one night, which was nice, because after that it was like 3 months of hell. Just to basically sum it up, like I had a very, very positive birth, and very positive. Like I would very happily do it again. If you're nervous, don't be. Everything is just going to be just fine. Don't overthink it. Try not to over-plan things. Things are not going to go to plan. Also, obviously, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I obviously like had things in plan in case I had a C-section, which thankfully I didn't. I say thankfully only because like I really didn't want to have one. Like obviously, like however you bring a baby in the world safely, as long as they're safe, that's fine. And I would have done anything for Tommy to be safe, to come into the world safely. So I don't mean like anything like negative about a C-section. I just really didn't personally want one. Everything was perfect, really. Like I read all of my notes after, and I just couldn't believe like how well I did, and I was so proud of myself. And so you should be. Like you've literally just given birth to a human. And yeah, I was just really proud of myself, and I just had a really nice positive experience, which I'm really thankful for, because I know there's some people out there that don't, and I know that there's some women out there that have it very horrific and have some really sad ones. So my heart goes out to those, you know, women out there. But if I was to give you any tips, is just to basically go in very open-minded, and yeah, just basically don't give yourself like pressure. Just go open-minded and take it as it goes, go with the flow. And I hope I didn't miss anything, but I think that's it. If you want to quickly just share your story, leave it all down below. I'd love to read it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer as much as I can. Obviously, this is all just my experience. Everybody's experience is different. But I just know that I watched a lot of these videos when I was, you know, due with my son. So if you watch this and it's just like giving you an idea of what it's like, then hopefully it's like, you know, giving you any sort of something you was looking for. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.